Good afternoon. My name is Tawana Newton, and today I would like to discuss with y'all a disease called lupus. I've named the slide Lupus, a killer in disguise, because a lot of times lupus can disguise itself as many other different types of diseases, such as cancer, the flu, arthritis, and things like that. What is lupus? Lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease that can damage any part of the body, such as your skin, your joints, and your organs inside the body. Chronic means the signs and symptoms tend to last longer than 6 weeks and sometimes up to many years. In lupus, something goes wrong with your immune system, which part of the body that fights off viruses, bacteria, and germs. Your foreign invaders, as they're called sometimes, like the flu. Normally, our immune system produces proteins called antibodies that protect the body from these invaders. Autoimmune, it means your immune system cannot tell the difference between these foreign invaders and your body's healthy tissues. And it creates autoantibodies that attack and destroy healthy tissues. These autoantibodies cause inflammation, pain, and damage in various parts of the body. Lupus is a disease that flares up and goes into remission. Some additional things that some folks may not know is lupus is not contagious, not even through sexual activity. You cannot catch lupus from someone else, or you cannot give it to someone else. Lupus is not like or related to cancer. They say that, but from a personal experience with somebody with lupus, I kind of question that one sometimes. Lupus is not like or related to HIV or AIDS. I can almost vouch for that one in some cases. Lupus can range from a mild case of lupus to life-threatening. I had a personal experience with life-threatening lupus, and I will get to that later on in the slide. American Lupus Foundation done research and it's found that 1.5 million Americans have lupus. The actual number could be higher, but due to statistics that I'll show you later, the funds available cannot help them do the proper research that is needed. More than 16,000 new cases a year of lupus are reported across the country. It is believed that 5 million people throughout the world have a form of lupus. Lupus strikes mostly women ages 15 to 44. However, men, children, and teenagers develop lupus too. Most people will develop lupus between the ages of 15 and 44, but that's not always 100% true. Women of color are 2 to 3 times more likely to develop lupus than Caucasian people. People of all races and ethnic groups can develop lupus. This is just mostly statistics of what they have researched this far. On the lupus statistics, 1.5 million Americans have a form of lupus. 5 million people worldwide have some form of lupus. 90% of women between the ages of 15 and 44. 70% is the systematic lupus. Half are major organs. The systematic is where it attacks the organs inside the body. 10% are the cutaneous skin lupus. 10% is also drug-induced lupus. 20% have a parent or sibling with lupus. 5% of children will develop this illness. That doesn't mean you will, it just means 5% of the children will. 2 to 3 more prevalent in women of color, and 10 to 15% will die prematurely due to complications of lupus. Lupus attacks your body so fast and so rapidly that you may not know it was there because you think it's something else. Also, statistics that was done was how much someone with lupus pays out, because it's just like someone with cancer, you know. You never know how you're going to feel. One day you can feel fine, the next day you may not. and everything. So this causes them to miss work and other deals. The annual health care cost for lupus patient is $12,643. From their loss of work due to this illness is $8,659. The total loss altogether for health care and work is $20,924. 1 in 4 of lupus patients receive health care through the government, such as Medicaid and Medicare. 2 out of 3 patients report partial or complete loss of income. 1 in 3 patients receive temporary disability, and 1 in 4 receive full disability. On lupus awareness, they've done surveys, and this right here to me shows how we need to treat lupus just like we do people with cancer, because cancer is very well known. Yes, there's new cancers that come out every day, but to me lupus can do just as much damage as somebody with cancer. A lot of people know research about cancer, that it's not that hard to find, but lupus awareness is not out there like cancer is. A survey of 1,000 adults was done. 38% knew somewhat about lupus. 39% had just heard the name, and 22% had never heard of lupus before. Lupus lags behind other illnesses due to the funding. They don't get the fundraisers like the American Cancer Society and stuff like that. They also did another survey with ages 18 to 24. 4 of 10 claimed to be aware of lupus. 65% claimed the awareness, and only 20 correctly answered basic questions about lupus. So it's not really out there for people to know much about. Back when I said I knew somebody that had a form of lupus, this is Jimmy Newton. This is my father. Was my father. Let me get that correct. Sorry. I guess you could say he still is. He had systematic and spontaneous lupus. He had both. He was 61 years of age, and he was diagnosed with lupus in November of 2010. The reason he was not diagnosed before then is because it was hidden. He never had any trauma to his body to actually bring out the lupus, and it was disguised as arthritis. When he first got sick in August of 2010, he was in the hospital for a total of 72 days. And in that 72 days, they ran tests for everything but lupus. In November of 2010, he was doing things that were not normal. When I rushed him to the hospital and everything, he was then shipped to a different hospital and everything, and one of the doctors there, that was the rheumatoid doctor, she came in there and laid down a $100 bill and said, I got that $100 bill that says it's lupus, after running different tests that a lot of regular doctors don't realize to run. He was diagnosed with lupus. He passed away on August 20th of 2014 due to the lupus. A little bit more background about the patient, which was my father. He was full of life. This is not just something I could tell you. If you knew the man, you knew how he was. He was a 28-year veteran of Provo Volunteer Fire Department. He was an instructor for the Arkansas Game and Fish. He was an umpire for softball, a coach for softball. He was a veteran during the Vietnam conflict. He was a devoted husband, father, grandfather, brother, son, and he never showed anger. But lupus changed all of that. And when he was diagnosed with lupus, and the worse he got, the more anger he got. And it's not that he meant to take it out on us, but he didn't know how else to handle it. And it's not like he went on a psychotic rampage. He just snapped a little bit easier and everything. He lost numerous amounts of weight during this whole process. When he started out, before the battle, he weighed 170 pounds all the time. That wasn't just something that fluctuated. He was 170 pounds. This picture was taken 3 months before his battle ended in August, and this was last year during Memorial Weekend, and he weighed 115 pounds in this picture. Lupus had done so much damage to his inner organs. He had kidney failure, COPD, emphysema. He also had the skin, so he had blotches on his skin. He had the butterfly. That's why the butterfly is the symbol for lupus. It's because he always had the butterflies on his cheek. He had to wear sunscreen, which I'd never seen a man wear till then. He always had to wear hats. He was supposed to wear long sleeve shirts, but as you can tell, he didn't always mind very well. This is just kind of some pictures I'm showing you of him, of how he was. These right here were before he was diagnosed and everything. This was a year after he was diagnosed and everything. And at that point in time, he was already in a wheelchair somewhat, not all the time. This was before. This was 5 months before he passed away. He was already in a chair and on oxygen. He was dependent of a wheelchair 99% of the time. This was taken a year ago on March 22nd. He, at that point, was pretty cranky some of the what at the time. I got a halfway smile out of him because his birthday was the next day and I got him something for his birthday. But it really changes who you are, and not only as a person, but it changes your family and how you and your family are as a group. We've always been a close-knit family, but it changed that. Lupus has no cure. It attacks the innocent and the unknown. Just like any other disease, it does not discriminate. Whether we as Americans, no matter the race or history, should make ourselves aware of lupus and other disorders. When we make ourselves more knowledgeable, we can fight this horrible killer better and hopefully save more people from living this life and possibly passing away. Thank you and have a good evening.